Radical.
Saw this upload I'll link to down below from Rebound. It was actually the first thing that was recommended to me on YouTube today. I think it's pretty interesting as a fall from grace story. There was an NBA player named Delonte West that, of course, was a millionaire because he was playing in the NBA. He was playing alongside LeBron James on the Cleveland Cavaliers. He started out with the Celtics, then he got bounced back to the Celtics, then he went to the Dallas Mavericks. And the story is interesting because he went from actually being in the NBA to being straight up homeless. And there was a video that was released of him basically yelling that he was the leader of the Navy SEALs, he was the leader of all the gangs. And this guy did get the help he needed by actually Mark Cuban. Great guy, Mark Cuban. You know, I've only heard great things about him. He owns the Dallas Mavericks. But what's interesting about Delonte West is I recalled that, wait, wasn't there something like a rumor years ago about Delonte West actually legit dating LeBron James' mom? And I was thinking to myself, of course, rumors like this pop up. I'm looking at this guy, I'm like, there's no way this homeless guy, this guy could be ever in a relationship with LeBron James' mom. But then I dig a little deeper into it. Then I think to myself, okay, if that is going to have any legitimacy as a story, I gotta look at actually what happened on the court. And what happened on that court was a spectacular performance starting out by LeBron James in that series. He had 38 points, I think, in game one versus the Celtics. He was on a tear. It was almost like nothing could stop LeBron James back then. But something did. They was up 2-1, and then they lost 3 straight games in that series. After that, LeBron James left Cleveland, and he took his talents to South Beach. And he teamed up with Bosh and Wade, and the rest is history. But it doesn't make any sense. It just makes no sense for LeBron James to actually, nothing was wrong with him medically. He didn't have an injury. He wasn't sick. And you can't say it's just he's collapsing under the pressure because that really wouldn't make sense. Not that big of a drop-off for such a dynamic player back then. And then I start to think about Delonte West. I start to think about his mother. And you know what? I think betrayal was the thing that really kind of broke LeBron back then. Could you imagine if you found out, and supposedly he found out right before game 4 about this, if you found out that someone was sleeping with your mother that you knew, and it happened to be your teammate, your point guard on that court, there's almost no way you could actually go out there and play that game with any level of focus. So for this to actually be true, what I would have to do is I would have to watch these games, and I don't have access to these games, but I would have to watch these games and actually see how LeBron reacted to Delonte. If he just didn't look at him, or when he actually walked by him, if he looked at him in disgust. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense, for that kind of performance from LeBron towards the end of that series. It doesn't, unless it's a guy that found out his teammate was boinking his mom. So I actually looked up pictures of his mother from back then, and I would say, not exactly my cup of tea, but she's better looking than you would think LeBron James' mom would look, So back then, I could see how Delonte West might be interested in his mother. Now, at the end of that series, you see LeBron James walking to the back, and that moment where he famously takes off the Cleveland jersey. And then the announcers say, is this the last we've seen LeBron playing for the Cavaliers? It's just an interesting comment here because, it's almost like the announcers and a lot of people kind of secretly knew that he was leaving. So yeah, not only, like I said, was his play terrible the last 3 games of that series, but he makes the decision to leave and take his talents to South Beach to team up with his buddies, Bosh and Wade. And it makes perfect sense if it's a guy that's just been betrayed by somebody on his own team to not only leave, but to team up with 2 people that he trusts. You know, maybe two of the only NBA players back then that didn't sleep with his mama. Ha ha! I kind of feel bad for LeBron now a little bit. Not really.